All right, hello and welcome back to Modern Mondays. We are at round number 3 here at Guardian Games in Portland, Oregon. We're Portland Paper. I'm Travis Cooper, hanging out with
Nat
original,
Crosman.
original supporter, oldest subscriber, VIP badge owner.
That's right. I'm Nat Crosman, and Travis has officially told, not officially, but mentioned to me that, I guess the reason why when after pandemic they were still monetized on Twitch is because I never stopped subscribing during the pandemic. There was
Yeah,
no streams, but just the $5 came through because I'm too lazy to unsubscribe. And I was like, hey, it's my buddy Travis. I'll help a brother out. And then you
still,
just kind of restarted because of
yeah.
that. Is that right?
Yeah, because you have to go through a bunch of like metrics and hoops to actually get monetized on Twitch, and it's like hours of streaming a week. But once you're there, you don't have to keep doing it. And we don't stream enough to like automatically get it again, so it had been like kind of an ordeal. So it's really cool to like
That's
have
so
retained
good.
that.
It
Um,
100% feels worth it to me that that happened the way it did just because of that. So,
but yeah, it looks like we have a matchup of Mikey, who we saw on camera earlier, playing Blue Red Prowess against Chris. Oh man, we don't. Our title editor isn't large enough to actually show the cool nickname. So we're going to have to actually spell it out. There we go. Playing Chris Walmsley on four-color glimpse.
do you have a favorite in this match? You think Mike can get there before things start to get out of control? Wait, that's a shardless agent there. Oh, glimpse.
Yeah.
I don't know why I was thinking a Urian deck. I saw more color and my brain shut off.
Yeah, I mean, basically, it's like there's various flavors of pile, and this is a more combo-oriented pile. So you're choosing to not play Rin and Six, basically, and you're playing like Elementals packages with Risen Reef
Mm-hmm.
and
Mm-hmm.
Omnath and stuff, and like Glimpse the Unthinkable. So you're going to be evoking some stuff, getting some clue tokens, playing some Colony Gardens. I think Mikey's in some trouble, especially game one when I don't think there's any counter spells that are in the main deck. So Mikey's got to have kind of an explosive start here.
Yeah, these Cascade combo decks, you do sort of either seed game onto them or you are running a card that you are relying on for that. And it does seem that those cards are rarely the same cards you want to run for other reasons. Although I do like Douthie Voidwalker against Living End, a card that's both good on its own right and also specifically good against all those graveyard decks. But I don't know. The Cascade decks, a little bit of a one-trick pony. I think a lot of players give them up after getting a little bit tired of playing them.
Yeah, I think the cool thing, I mean, and this is definitely cool in air quotes about the four-color glimpse deck, is it like at its core, it's kind of like an elementals package, which is good. Like you don't have to cascade for your deck to do like impactful things. Like you can evoke your
Yeah,
elementals, use removal, and then just play a Risen Reef and recoup some card advantage.
yeah,
So I
that's a
mean,
good
it's
point.
not quite as good as like if you just had Rin and Six and then like curved out with like Abundant Growth. But it's still pretty solid. And so you have that like kind of like cascade combo in otherwise like decent deck.
Yes, agree. And it is interesting that the Omnath has sort of enabled this entire super genre of decks that are able to function under that umbrella. It's really it speaks to the power of the card. People, like to point at Harvest for being an analog of Astrolabe, um, you know, or the flicker effects being the problem, or the pitch elementals. But it does seem that Omnath has just carved out a role that's kind of almost reminiscent of a card like Oko, where you see it in decks of all different descriptions now, kind of.
Yeah, I feel like there's a core of like Uro and the evoke elementals plus Risen Reef uh, and Teferi that are in so many decks where they may be like 16 cards different,
Yeah.
and like just that I feel like Omnath is a bit of the glue that holds it
Yeah.
together. The fact that it pitches to both like Solitude and Fury is really important,
And
and plus
endurance.
it just the life gain is so great. Important to stabilizing, and just if it wasn't for that card, I think you would see the deck builds would be pretty different. So.
Yeah. Yeah. So, do you think it's in any danger of catching a ban?
I
Om
think
nom nom.
I think. Oh wow, we're spinning with not very not very many permanents out there. All right. Oh man, Mikey's gonna
All right, I love
dart the
that.
plant.
I
So
actually
we
really
have
like that move. And
even
of
less
course,
permanents.
Shard was not on the battlefield right now, right? So only 3 permanents on the battlefield. And do you like this move from Chris? Is there a reason why he's feeling he needs to fire it off right here?
Maybe a sign of desperation. Really, Mikey is gonna have a lot of potential damage next turn.
And
All right. Let's. I feel like Omnath fetch is what you're wanting.
well, not what you got. You get the critter, you get the guy, which you did not cast, so you do not get a cascade trigger from. And what's this? Is that Chancellor? Oh my god, Chancellor of the Forge. If you have any opener, get a goblin. I'm going to ETPs get a goblin.
It's a 5/5. It's not nothing.
Yeah, it's not nothing.
So yeah,
And
I
having
mean,
those two agents looks pretty good for having a little bit of breathing space.
I think Chris is basically just saying like, if I get 2 creatures or something, my creatures are going to be like very good, and I'm going to like try to win this like just on the board. So I think that actually worked out really well for Chris. We
The
got
5/5 seems like a big
yeah.
game right here for sure. It's funny that Chancellor reminds me of when I very first started playing Magic. I got back into Magic. I tried to play years ago when Portal was like a beginner deck you could buy, and my wife wasn't into it. And started playing Magic when my son in 2nd grade had like a young man who was part of like the aftercare school crew who introduced him to Magic. Like, oh yeah, that game was cool. I thought that was fun. And so when Ezra was in 2nd grade, we started playing kitchen table Magic.
I played a lot of Chancellor of the Tangle and Neo Bran.
Well, I played Chancellor of the Spire.
Oh.
And I bet you don't know what that does.
No, I don't.
Because it's so bad. And I was so excited. And Ezra was so upset whenever I would have Chancellor of the Spire, a card I don't believe I ever cast, in my opening hand because it would make him mill 7 cards. And it felt like such a blow. And that's how new I was once, chat. And now I know better. Now I know better.
We're just getting in for 5.
Yep. Yeah, I think this is right. You know, you kind of sit back, you have your shields up, you get in above. But that's a flyer, is it? Is it a flyer?
No, Chancellor doesn't fly, and we have
That was a dragon.
we have Darcy's on Mikey's side. Chris is
Does
at 8.
fly, yeah.
I mean, yeah, Chris sitting at 8, and Mikey's got is playing lightning bolts. So those are.
It's good. It's not bad. You know, Chris is at 8, but also he can. All right.
All right, that's gonna do it. So, looks like Chris had a pretty good for such a low count glimpse there. Chris had pretty good flips.
So here's what I want to talk about with you, Travis, which is it true that Mikey was on the play in this round? I think that's right. Chad, is that right?
Yeah, I felt like Mikey was on the play.
Mikey on the play. So you and I have talked about before, and I believe the last time I commentated like 3 years ago, I may have even asked you the same question. What do you think about this idea of having match pairing software determine play draw in rounds, according to who has had that condition more times?
Oh
in the
yeah, that's
pairing?
my
Beat on that for us for chat for a minute, because I want you to evangelize, because I actually believe in this idea and I would like it to take hold.
So it's how it works in chess is like your the first match you play is randomized. Who gets the choose what color you want to play or who's on the play or who's on the draw. And then after that, it's weighted by how many times you've been on the play or the draw for the event, so that you end up having as even a possible amount of times on the play or draw. So it just cuts the variance out of an event. and there's like no reason that that couldn't. I mean, that's a very cheap thing to write into any kind of like API that you're using for pairing. Like it could be put into the companion app very easily.
The app is
Um,
there.
yeah, and it's just like it just solves so much stuff because sometimes people just sit down and they'll roll dice, but you're like, well, I feel like part of the game is we decide who plays first and how we're going to determine that, not just like you roll dice and like, it's a high roll or whatever. And I mean, there's elements of like potential cheating that happens. Like, let's say you're high rolling and someone just picks up the dice that you low rolled and then drops it down again. And I just I don't like. I mean, sometimes the sub game is fun a little bit, but when you're at a competitive environment, I just would much prefer it to be determined um, equitably throughout the event.
So I guess part of my question here is, and how important do you think it is the role of who wins that in this matchup? It seems important if you're the aggro deck to be on the play. It really gives you a strong setup to take the game down against a
Yeah,
deck that might be able to run you out.
yeah, in more powerful formats than modern, I definitely would place as now a high-powered format because you have so many zero mana like
Right.
cards that affect the board a lot that yeah, player draw is huge, like so huge, especially like when you watch like a Hammer Time versus Amulet deck or something like that, where when you have the potential to like go off on turns 2 or 3 and your
Yep.
opponent doesn't have a lot of like main deck interaction, that's
Yes.
huge.
Yes, indeed. I agree. And I hope that we can actually get sort of a movement to encourage Wizards to implement pairing, that kind of software application, because I really do think it matters a lot. And it really does seem like one of the aspects of variance that isn't maybe one of the funner aspects of variance to the game we play.
It looks like Chris
Not a
going
lot you can do
for
about it.
a mulligan there. I do find that this glimpse deck can mulligan pretty well. You have a lot of cascaders, and then basically you just need a cascader, and most of the rest of your cards are going to like help you make tokens or draw you some cards. So.
Right. So here's a question: do you like Ashy at all against against
I feel
these
like
decks?
I feel like you've got this thing where like Ashiok is a good card. What do
I
you
think
think
one
about
is
it?
not bad,
Yeah.
and I'll tell you why. Because Dwarven Mind's a real pain in your ass.
Yeah, well, I mean, that's more like creativity, but sure.
I guess I am thinking of
Yeah.
creativity,
Um,
but you know what I'm saying, right?
yeah.
Like they play a lot of fetches,
I think,
and they need them. And if they're also playing Urza Saga, I mean, I don't know if this deck does. They probably don't. But
I think that kind of goes back to the point you're bringing up before with player draw that like
yeah,
you have to have your cards be valuable on the play to be on your sideboard, and that seems like a card that like 3 mana is so much that you want that to like really impact the game when you play it, and
it's
it's just
true.
like not good enough, I don't think, on the play.
It's true that on the play it is quite a bit weaker. That's well said. Agree.
All right, we got threat number 2. Got a bobble. I cut Darcy's out of my Murktide deck for a minute, and boy, did I miss it. And they are now back in because that play Darcy, play bobble, especially is just such a good feeling.
Yeah, it's pretty good.
And looks like
All
we got to
right.
consider. We got a lightning bolt. Don't see what else is in the hand. And we're past the turn, and
There's the bobble trigger reminder. I
it's like
seem to remember Mikey playing pack trigger reminders, like those wooden token ones from Arcade Post or whoever, at one time. Of course, nobody cares about pack triggers anymore.
also looks like Mikey has Unholy Heat left in the deck, so it's interesting the amount of removal you want to have in your deck against this Glimpse deck as well, because if they, like, removal is important if they're kind of playing the fair game, but if they're just, like, starting to Glimpse and they're, cascading off with, like, and you have clue tokens out there and stuff, your removal isn't doing a whole lot.
Yeah, that's good. It makes the decisions about how to play out your hand very much dependent on what you see your opponent doing. I'm hoping you're drawing the right half of your deck.
All right, we do have Delirium now. Looks like we got creatures, instants, lands, and artifacts. Or I thought that was a creature. Yeah. Nope.
Yeah, no, there is.
Yeah,
There's a
okay.
Darcy in there,
Yeah.
artifact, fiery
Yeah.
islet, and then we got instants and sorceries. I think, is Lava Dart an instant?
Lava Dart's an instant. I mean, I don't think there's. I think
No
the deck
sorceries.
is usually light on sorceries, which is that's curious to see Mikey going for light up the stage over Espressive Iteration. I think that's a change that they're doing. Plus, they're playing the Ragavans in the deck,
Hmm.
which in some ways like is lowering your curve a bit. It's interesting. I don't quite know what I think about it.
How much of the Ragavan decision do you think is a card advantage thing? Do you think that plays into it?
Yeah, not sure. Have
Because
to talk to Mikey
you do
afterwards.
need the gas to keep these prowess decks going, and rags can get you the spells off the top of your opponent's deck. I wonder how much of a factor that is in Mikey's thinking about this deck.
Looks like Chris is stuck on 3 here, which is
Not where you want to be
not where
with
you want to be.
not with
Yeah.
the glimpse deck. Trying to get a lot of things up. Endurance lines up pretty good against Dragon's Rage Channeler, really. But where's the green coming from? He's evoking.
Oh, it looks like Mikey is also playing Espressive Iteration and Light Up the Stage. Okay, we've got an Endurance. Wall considers on the stack after the Darcy triggers have resolved. And then we're going to Outburst with the sack trigger on the stack as well.
Huh.
So hoping for another good hit on 4 here.
Yeah, you getting one more card? I love it. Well, Fury seems timely. Oh, yeah, of course he's not drawing for the glimpse.
We're not spinning the wheel yet. We got to find the wheel before we spin it. Wheel has
I got
been
ahead of
found.
myself there. Who do you think? Who do you think Lebski's asking here? Because if the answer is me, I don't know what you're talking about.
Yeah, it's legal in Oregon.
I don't even know what
I
y'all are
will
talking
say
about right now.
Nat has Nat's finished like half a box of cookies by this point, so take that as you will. And okay, this is a pretty bad glimpse for Chris, unless Chris has another another way to cascade.
Yeah, a second Cascader looks pretty good here, but in the absence of same, you're in a bad shape. You're at 13. You got a round of safety here, maybe.
All right, just a note for the chat thing as everyone, stuff gets heated, people have opinions, it's magic. That's the only, there's more, what's the thing about assholes and opinions of magic? I forget. There's a lot of opinions, but
I don't have any opinions.
yeah, just maintain an air of civility out there.
My opinion is that most of your opinions are well justified, but not all of them. So it makes me wonder about that one you just said.
My opinions?
I'm just going to shut
Oh
up now.
my gosh.
You want another beer? Pardon me,
Yes,
chat. I'll be
yes
back
I
in a
do.
moment.
Yeah, looks like there's a big discussion on Dwarven Mine in the deck.
It's not even this deck. That's my fault.
Yeah. All right. Looks like we're passing for Mikey. Chris, we do have the Scalding Tarn, it looks like. And Saving Life, maybe thinking about Blood Moon as a card that could exist in Mikey's deck. But I think we're going to see Omnath here. No. Oh, we're making some clues. Guess we don't have the white for Omnath. We just have green, blue, and red. So hopefully one of these clues can draw Chris a land. That's what we're going for. And a heat takes care of a 2/2. Chat's asking if we'll do a shout out, and heck yeah. Okay. Hey Derek, reading the card explains the card. Hopefully that works for you. uh, yeah, I sometimes have to tell that to myself too. Read the cards, because there's cards like Caldra Complete that I'm like, that has just so many words on it. Usually you just lose, but then it has like lots of relevant text sometimes. Yeah,
Do y'all remember when Reality Smasher felt like it had one too many things stapled
yeah.
to it? Those were the days, weren't they? In retrospect, we had it so good.
All right. Looks like Chris has had this Omnath kind of stuck in hand, not able to cast it. Cycle through some clues here. We get another forest. That forest does not make the white. It always feels kind of bad to spend these clues when you're hoping to cascade.
No tracker to make use of them and get all big. Just not what you're trying to do.
Oh, we hit a Fury there.
Fury seems pretty decent. What's the graveyard looking like on Mikey's side?
Look, Mikey's got a decent. I think we have delirious Darcy's, so I don't think Fury is going to be able to do enough here.
Yeah, I can like get just the shredder.
All right, that's going to be game.
Got stuck.
Let's check in with our second match here, and
Smoothly done.
I'm going to.
Old style ignoble hierarchs in the grave over there, and in exile looks like.
Gonna go move over the life totals.
All right, and looks like we have some old school Jund here with also Croxa and is